Thank you, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Hi, thanks very much for this opportunity to ask a question. I'd like to know, you said keeping your hands on something, in order to really be an innovator, you have to get your hands into it and do it. How do you become a good collaborator if you're into your thing and you want to join it with another thing?
Okay, one of the things about inventing new technologies is it's good to cover a lot of the disciplines yourself. Every little bit from drawing the first designs of it to constructing and testing. But obviously, you're going to need other people to make it complete products, the sort of things that companies sell. So it's just, to me, the best thing is know what you're good at and don't try to do everyone else's job. Let them do what they're better at than you. Everyone who's better at different parts of it, understand and respect that. You know, and occasionally you will have a rare person who can just make a company product. Instead of hiring 10 different people, you can hire this one person and maybe just a couple of others, and that's a lucky situation when you find it.
Is it hard to collaborate when you're so inside your own head on so much of this stuff?
No. Well, as far as what you're doing, you kind of become totally in control of it. I think that somebody like Steve Jobs at the top of Apple has in his head develops ideas of what should be in a product, what shouldn't, that helps make it great. It comes from one mind and not a whole mess of committees and people trying to put this idea and that idea in. I think it takes a lot of greatness to being able to say no. Well, when you're working alone and independently, it's easy to say no because you're saying it to yourself. No for this, no for that, hold off there. How do you make something really great? You don't have to fight anyone. You don't have to argue.
Anybody on this side of the hall here? I see. Over here, please. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Steve, you seem to be more of a hardware guy from all your experiences that you've related, and I guess my question is more about the future of computing and whether you think it's more driven by advances in hardware technology or software technology.
Okay. I was known for doing all the hardware and all the software in the early Apple products, and I even wrote computer languages on my own, not necessarily having been trained in them. Because you had to do it to get the whole job done. So I wasn't one or the other. I'll accept that I'm primarily a hardware person, but it was a long time ago that pretty much in the days of the Macintosh, when it was becoming known, our Lisa had failed, we had the Macintosh, mouse, Windows, and Microsoft had DOS, where you would type in weird geeky commands to move files around, and they were so different. What were the differences in the two computers? They both had chips that could do the same job. They both had little wires that could go to keyboards and displays. So the real difference was in the software. And that was from then on, from that time on, it's been pretty much everything that used to be in hardware, chips of electronics, now it all boils down to one chip, holds something 100 times, 1,000 times greater than all that combination of chips was back then. So everything's in the middle of one chip. You don't see the hardware anymore. It's not like a hardware guy there are very many hardware guys to piece them together. Once it's made onto one great chip, that's what you have to deal with in hardware. So it's almost all software game nowadays.
Gotcha. Anybody on this side of the hall? Yes, right here, please. Over here. Sir, just wait for the microphone. It's coming right over now. Thank you. Go ahead.
Steve, do you see any negative aspects with the development of the internet and computers on the future of humankind?
Which Steve are you talking to?
I think it's for you.
Me?
Yeah, I think it's for you. Yeah.
Sorry,
for
little
you.
joke.
Yes, it's for you.
Little joke. With every positive advance in science or technology or math, there are likelihoods of negative things coming out. You know, learning to study the atom and how it works, we got the atomic bomb. So people will often look at the internet is not people. And the funny thing is the internet hasn't grown up. We haven't grown up yet to where we have a robot that thinks like a person, has real intelligence. We haven't, the closest thing we've got to it is really Google. The internet has as many nodes, computers if you will, on the order of magnitude as we have neurons in the brain. The number of network connections equals the number of synapses in the brain, the order of magnitude. So that's the closest thing we have to a smart person that can give smart answers.
But technology is neutral.
The trouble is, technology is neutral, and basically, when the internet came along, we could share, anybody could put anything they wanted on the internet. But also, unfortunately, this electronics world allows us to lock things out and decide what goes and what doesn't very easily. The doors are a lot easier to lock than people walking down the street and talking. So it's very easy to restrict possibly what you can and can't get. And that's sort of the unfortunate side of it. You can, I don't know, make movies that have bits that say you cannot copy it.
Let's go to this side of the hall. Yes, right up in the front here. Microphone is on its way. Thanks.
Hi, Steve Wozniak. The question I have is sometimes people are passionate about building technology and they create something new, and sometimes they're very frustrated or they just can't figure out why something doesn't exist. What things frustrate you today that you think should exist but don't?
Don't exist. I mean, I only get frustrated when electronic devices have bugs or mislead you or aren't easy to figure out, and they could have been designed in the easy way. That what doesn't exist? So much exists. If I said one thing doesn't exist, I'm sure that it would exist, that I just don't know about it. So I'm not frustrated at all in the sense of things we don't have. Just more how some of them don't seem to work in a human way. There's this idea of what's more important, the human or the technology. When the human is important, products are designed around the way they do things in their human world. When the technology is important, you force the human to change, and rather than writing software programs to make the computer be a human, the person has to figure out, where are these menus? Why doesn't this make sense? What do I click to get that done? I can't remember how to delete something. Then you've sort of said the technology is more important and is the master, and I'm just a slave to it. And that whole thinking bothers me. And I think someday we need a renaissance in software where it really gets to that point of the early Macintosh dreams. Just everything is intuitive and obvious and always works. And even if you make a mistake, the computer senses you're making a mistake and tells you what you should have done and does it for you.
That gets a hand. Anything out there that you wish you had invented? You look at that thing and say, damn, I could have invented that. Why didn't I think of that?
I see almost anything that exists that's great. I mean, I wish I could invent it, but that means millions of things. But one in particular, I mean, I got a little watch on.
That's a big watch.
It's a big watch, and it's got vacuum tubes in it running on 140 volts. They aren't made anymore. Old day stuff. And when I turn my wrist, it shows me the time, hours, and minutes. Just the way I like it. And it's got a little tiny PIC microprocessor in there. I mean, I programmed one of those recently to make a Segway key burner so I could program my own speed keys on the Segway and go my own speeds. And, well, I'm so safety conscious, I want it slower, you know me. People
That's very cool.
By the way, people are shocked. I wish I'd built this watch. I've met the guy who built it. Sort of handmade by one guy in Tucson. He sells it online.
I don't know. Can you show people how you do that? I don't know if we got a camera that can go in close enough on that. Zoom in on the watch if you can and show.
When I turn my wrist to see the time, hours, and minutes display. Just the order I would speak them. It's the way my brain works. You know, it's like when I had a Newton message pad, I would handwrite Sarah Dentist, Tuesday, 2 p.m. Click this little button called Assist, and it would open up the calendar program and stick it in. It sort of knew what I was thinking. The way my brain works is the way I would speak things, and I speak the time, 3:29.
That's very cool. Okay, over on this side of the room now. Okay, in the back there. Thank you.
With the emergence of cloud computing, do you see that as challenging or competing with the Fusion I/O, or do you see that as an opportunity for Fusion I/O to sell more of these boards?
Cloud computing just means that an awful lot more of our own personal storage and computing moves out to the internet world. The internet world full of data centers, full of servers, full of storage. That's exactly where Fusion I/O is. You know, and we're a big player compatible with all the you know, the virtualization that's going on. Oh no, it's absolutely a boon for us.
Okay, I want to keep everybody on time, so let's do one more question right there in the back. If we can get a microphone to this gentleman right here, standing up. No, sorry. All right, let's do the gentleman in the blue suit, and then we'll this guy over here.
Way in the way back. He never has a chance. Yeah. There he is.
The one waving his arms?
Yeah.